Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in, because today we are tearing into a text that, honestly, is going to fundamentally shift how we view our day-to-day existence. We're traveling way back to the year 49 AD. So picture this. A Roman philosopher, statesman, and playwright named Seneca sits down to write a letter to his father-in-law. This guy's name was Paulinus. And Paulinus, he wasn't just some ordinary guy. He was the prefect of the Roman grain supply. So his literal job was to feed the massive, constantly hungry population of Rome. You can imagine, he was a wildly busy man, constantly putting out fires, dealing with never-ending crises. And it's exactly to this overworked, totally exhausted administrator that Seneca delivers what has become one of the most piercing, profound meditations on time ever written. Let's jump right into this, because right out of the gate, Seneca completely flips our most common, everyday grievance upside down. I mean, we all say it, right? Oh, life is too short, or where did the time go? But Seneca argues that this is fundamentally just a massive excuse. Life is not inherently short. Nature actually gives us a really generous measure of time to accomplish great things. So, the brutal truth? The foundational problem of our existence isn't a lack of time. No, it's our own reckless mismanagement of it. We're the ones who make it short. Moving on to Section 1, the Universal Time Complaint. Now, if you feel called out, don't worry, we are in incredibly good company with this bad habit. This universal time complaint spans all of human history. Even brilliant minds fell right into this trap. The great philosopher Aristotle actually complained, arguing against nature itself, saying it was deeply unfair that animals were given 5 or 10 lifetimes, while humans get such a strict limit. But Seneca steps in and warns us that this mindset is incredibly dangerous. Instead of blaming nature, he gives us a specific vocabulary for our condition. He calls it the occupatus, the engrossed, the preoccupied person. This is someone who's so entirely absorbed in the relentless, daily grind of life that they leave absolutely no margin for actually living it. They're a human doing rather than a human being. And today we're really going to dissect this modern busyness trap by looking closely at how these occupati operate so we can, avoid becoming one of them. This brings us to Section 2, squandering our greatest wealth. To really get this, we have to face a pretty uncomfortable truth about how we calculate value. Think about how we treat our money and our physical property. We fiercely guard it. If there's a dispute over our property lines or our bank accounts, man, we'll rush to arms, we'll drag people to court, we will fight to the bitter end to protect what's ours. But when it comes to time, our absolute most finite, irreplaceable resource, we are shockingly wasteful. We literally let anyone trespass on our days. We just hand our hours away for free to bad meetings, endless scrolling on our phones, or the random demands of other people. We treat time as if it comes from this infinite, bottomless supply, when in reality, that day you're freely handing over to some pointless distraction, it could very well be your last. To really drive this point home, Seneca asks us to do a little thought experiment. Imagine a 100-year-old man performing a ruthless audit of his life. Just think about that for a second. You reach 100 years of age. Okay, now subtract the time you lost arguing with your spouse. Subtract the time lost catering to demanding clients or bosses. The time spent rushing around the city on totally pointless errands. The time lost to useless worry. And the time that just lay idle. Once you subtract all of that, Seneca says you're going to realize you actually have way fewer years to your credit than you count. Even at 100 years old, you're essentially dying unripe. Because you weren't actually living those years, right? You were just spending them. Let's look at Section 3, the trap of busyness. We so often wear our busyness as a badge of honor today, but Seneca warns us that being constantly occupied is a complete smokescreen. It masks a total lack of internal direction. Just look at what the occupati, these engrossed people, actually do with their days. They're gripped by this voracious avarice, always chasing the next dollar. They're busied with completely pointless enterprises. Maybe they're sodden with wine, or just completely slack with idleness. They exhaust themselves with political ambition, or they wear themselves down performing thankless favors for the rich and powerful. Seneca says these people are thrown from one new design to another by sheer fickleness. They literally have no goal to steer their course toward. It's like they're running incredibly fast, but on a treadmill. And eventually, death takes them completely by surprise while they're just gaping and yawning. And to show just how absurd this entire lifestyle can get, Seneca shares this tragic comic story of a Roman who is so enfeebled, so entirely disconnected from reality by his life of pampered luxury, that when his slaves lift him out of his bath and set him down in his sedan chair, he actually has to ask them, "Am I now seated?"
It's almost funny, but honestly, it's deeply tragic. The man is so out of touch with his own physical existence that he needs another human being to tell him what his own body is doing. Seneca asks, how can a man who doesn't even know if he's sitting down possibly be the master of his own time? No way.
Seneca maps out our lifespan into 3 distant periods. The past is certain. It's the one and only thing that fortune can't touch. The present is incredibly short, just fleeting. And the future is completely doubtful and uncertain. So what does the endlessly busy person do? Well, they completely miss the present because they're totally distracted. They refuse to look at the past because looking back at a misspent life just brings up a bunch of regret. And they spend all their anxious energy completely focused on a future that may never even arrive.
Now for Section 4, living versus existing.
There is this immense, completely unbridgeable gap between just surviving and actually possessing your own life. Seneca separates biological duration from genuinely lived time. Biological duration is just the sheer number of years a body has persisted on this earth. It's marked by gray hairs and wrinkles. But genuinely lived time? That's time spent fully present, aware, and deliberately cultivating your mind. Seneca points out the absolute tragedy of an old person who has literally no proof of a long life other than their biological age. They haven't grown wise. They haven't deepened their soul. They've simply existed. They didn't live a long life. They just took a really long time to die. So the absolutely crucial point is captured right here in this quote. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. I really want you to ask yourself, are you trapped in expectancy? Are you constantly waiting for the right time? Waiting until you retire to finally start that passion project. Waiting until the kids are out of the house to travel. Waiting until Friday to finally feel happy. Seneca says that by handing over your life to what lies in the hands of fortune, the uncertain future, you let go of the absolutely only thing that actually lies in your own hands, which is today. And finally, Section 5, how to truly live. So if busyness is a trap and expectancy is basically sealing our lives, what's the solution? Well, Seneca doesn't just diagnose the illness here, he offers us a true philosophical emancipation. The solution lies in a concept the Romans called odium. Now, we usually translate this as leisure, but please do not confuse this with idleness. Odium is not lying on a beach baking in the sun. It's not learning useless historical trivia. True leisure for Seneca is the deliberate, active cultivation of the mind and the soul. It's stepping off that endless hamster wheel of external validation and actually using your time to nourish your inner life through philosophy, reading, and really deep reflection. Here is the actionable path to becoming what the Stoics called a sapiens, a truly wise person. Step 1. Withdraw from the crowd and the endless external demands on your attention. Just step back. Step 2. Stop waiting for an uncertain future. Live immediately. And step 3. Commune daily with the great minds of the past. Seneca says that when you read philosophy, you effectively annex all past ages to your own. It's like a superpower. You can befriend Zeno, Pythagoras, Aristotle. They are never too busy to see you. They'll always share their wealth of wisdom. And unlike material wealth, this treasure only grows the more you share it. Let's summarize this archetypical contrast to really see the ultimate difference in how we can choose to live. On one side, we have the occupati, the engrossed. Their focus is completely distracted by tomorrow. They're motivated entirely by external wealth and status. And their ultimate status? Well, they're slaves. Slaves to their bosses, their clients, their ambitions, and the demands of others. But on the other side, we have the sapiens, the wise. Their focus is fully aware of today. Their motivation is internal virtue and wisdom. And their status? They are the true masters of their own lifespan. They combine all times into one, using the past through recollection, the present through use, and the future through anticipation. Which brings us to our final thought. Seneca's 2,000-year-old letter to a super busy executive basically strips away every single excuse we have for squandering our days. The problem isn't nature's meanness, it's our own mismanagement. The whole future lies in absolute uncertainty. So the only question that actually matters as we wrap up this explainer is this. Are you living immediately, or are you just spending your time? Take control of your time, cultivate your mind, and start truly living today.